The community favorite A-10 Warthog has finally received a major upgrade and will remain in service for another decade. What has been modernized and what role will this legendary aircraft play now? Watch till the end to find out. A 1966 USAF study of existing close air support (CAS) capabilities showed that the Lockheed AH-56 Cheyenne helicopter selected to meet the Army's Advanced Aerial Fire Support System competition would be unable to meet all of the escort and fire suppression tasks that the Department of Defense required. The Air Force concluded that it should acquire a simple, effective, inexpensive, dedicated, and survivable CAS aircraft at least as capable as the A-1. The result was A-10 Thunderbolt II, popularly known as the Warthog. Developed by Fairchild Republic, A-10 had large, straight wings, which were optimized for maneuverability at low airspeeds and very low altitude, and that also ensured that the Warthog would be a stable and highly accurate weapons delivery platform. The aircraft was optimized for operation from relatively short and austere runways to allow it to use forward airstrips close to the front lines. The aircraft featured a sturdy landing gear with low-pressure tires. The Warthog was also designed to be serviced and sustained from bases with limited facilities close to the battle area. But the Cold War tank killer was built around the extraordinary 30mm GAU-8A Gatling gun, famously described as being as big as a Volkswagen Beetle and firing 3,900 rounds per minute, and the rounds were equally famously described as being the size of a milk bottle. They were made using ultra-heavy, ultra-dense depleted uranium to destroy an array of ground targets, including tanks. And the A-10A carried 1,174 rounds of such ammunition for this monstrous cannon. Complementing the A-10's agility, flexibility, and lethality were an unparalleled degree of survivability. Many of the aircraft's parts are interchangeable left and right, including the engines, main landing gear, and vertical stabilizers, facilitating battle damage repairs. Other systems were armored or redundant, and the aircraft's self-sealing fuel tanks are protected by internal and external foam. The cockpit is protected by titanium armor, which also protects parts of the flight control system, resulting in an aircraft that was able to survive direct hits from armor-piercing and high-explosive projectiles of up to 23 millimeters, absorbing battle damage and returning to base for repair. Manual systems back up the redundant hydraulic flight control systems, allowing the pilot to continue to fly the aircraft even when hydraulic power is lost. The A-10 proved its worth during the 1991 Operation Desert Storm. Its anti-tank capability, long loiter, and wide combat radius proving particularly useful. It demonstrated a 95.7% mission-capable rate during the Gulf War, flying 8,100 sorties and launching 90% of the AGM-65 Maverick missiles used in the conflict. Few of the A-10's unique capabilities were needed in the post-Cold War environment when close air support became a matter of delivering precision munitions from medium altitude, where the Warthog had little to offer other platforms, even though it had a long range, long airborne time, and the ability to carry up to 16,000 pounds of ammunition in addition to its, now little used, 30mm cannon. For many years, there have been discussions about the potential retirement of the A-10 from service. However, the U.S. Air Force has decided to upgrade and keep the Warthog close air support jet in service until 2030s. The jet, designed to dominate Cold War battlefields, will still be flying 40 years after the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's the good news. The bad news? Central to the upgrades for the A-10 is the need to be survivable in a contested environment. This involves Warthog pilots evading threats through the additional use of standoff weapons from longer ranges, combined with the use of updated tactics. Warthog operations will evolve to include the ability to tackle some threats with precision weapons from extended ranges. Once these threats are destroyed, the A-10s will then theoretically be able to swing into more traditional missions. To put it simply, the A-10 is being kept on one condition, though. It is no longer designated to fly over heavily defended battlefields. The Air Force is convinced the aircraft, designed to unleash missiles, rockets, bombs, and its GAU-8, a 30mm Gatling gun, is no longer able to fly over double-digit air defenses, such the Russian Tor and Panzer S-1 short-range air defense weapons. Instead, the Warthog is now relegated to supporting US troops over lightly contested or defended airspace. Think Afghanistan or Somalia, not Russia or China. One of the most important upgrades is the incorporation of the GBU-39 small-diameter bomb. The GBU-39 is a 250-pound high-explosive bomb fitted with wings and a guidance system, allowing it to engage individual ground targets at ranges up to 40 miles. The Warthog can carry up to 18 GBU-39s, theoretically giving it the ability to engage up to 18 different targets. Upgraded A-10s, coupled with unmanned aerial vehicles, could work together to suppress enemy air defenses and bomb tank columns. UAVs could be used to locate enemy air defenses before being shot down, passing on the coordinates of those weapons to A-10 crews. The Warthogs, in turn, could then unleash GBU-39S against those weapons before closing in and engaging enemy tanks and armored vehicles with AGM-65 Maverick missiles, high-explosive bombs, and of course the GAU-8A Avenger 30mm 7-barreled Gatling gun. Also, a wing replacement program is underway to enable 218 A-10C to remain operational until the 2030s. This program builds on Boeing's so-called Hog Up program, which began in 1999 and which aimed to increase the aircraft's life to 16,000 flying hours. The base contract was for 117 wings, with options for 125 additional. Of these, 173 wings are now on order, with options remaining for 69 additional. In addition, the Air Force is currently working on the HRDS, which is a 11.6-inch 1920 x 1080-pixel multi-function color display that replaces the cockpit's central six-pack of analog instruments with a digital primary flight display. This will display high-definition targeting pod footage and a new map engine. It is the most significant cockpit modernization since the A-10A to A-10C conversion. Additional A-10 improvements will include the improvements for the Scorpion helmet-mounted display, an augmented reality system that superimposes targets on the ground over the pilot's field of view. This allows pilots to identify and engage enemy forces on the ground as quickly as possible, minimizing their exposure to enemy fire. These upgrades are important because they provide modern navigation instruments to improve situational awareness when flying in instrument meteorological conditions. It will make targets much more visible through a higher definition display of targeting pod footage, and improved map imagery will allow enhanced target correlation. The initiative could also include Link 16 network for sharing information with friendly forces and a synthetic aperture radar pod capable of scanning the ground and identifying tanks and armored vehicles at night and through adverse weather such as clouds or fog. A long-held ambition to re-engine the A-10s isn't included in current plans. New parts suppliers with modern techniques may help restore the original engine thrust of the General Electric TF-34 engines rather than the slight detune that the aircraft currently operates with. What will replace the A-10 in the skies over America's peer adversaries? The F-35, of course. In one respect, that's the correct decision. Despite America's fondness for the A-10, it would probably get shot down in droves by a competent enemy, fielding modern air defense guns and missiles. The F-35 is faster and more responsive to the fast-moving ground battle, and its stealthy qualities make it less of a target. Its sensors and communications allow it to collect data on ground threats so the pilot can effectively counter them. The problem with the F-35 in the close air support role is that it lacks armament. The A-10 Thunderbolt bristles with weapons, from the GAU-8A Avenger 30mm Gatling gun to Maverick missiles, 70mm rockets, and guided and unguided bombs. The F-35, on the other hand, is armed with the GAU-22 Equalizer 25mm gun with just 181 rounds and can carry just 2 laser or satellite-guided bombs in its internal payload bays. The F-35 can carry more bombs on wing-mounted pylons, but doing so increases the jet's visibility to enemy radars. Still, the F-35 may not keep the close air support mission for long. The F-35A currently costs $45,000 an hour to fly, and the Air Force may decide that the mission should go toward a cheaper unmanned aircraft capable of flying missions over contested airspace. A better solution down the road might be large numbers of cheap but heavily armed drones, with the pilot of a manned aircraft planning drone strikes from a safe distance. The ideal aircraft for this mission? The A-10. The Air Force's decision is a mixed victory for fans of the A-10. The semi-mythical ideal of the A-10 as an invincible titanium-armored Valkyrie flying over legions of enemy tanks, flattening them like pancakes while avoiding volleys of enemy missiles, is over for good. Still, the 1970s-era Warthog is flying far longer than anyone ever expected and may even get the last laugh over the F-35. And what do you think about this new A-10 Warthog upgrade? Write your opinion in the comments below. You can also share your story about why you like or dislike this aircraft. We will be glad to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to always stay in touch. And thanks for watching.